understandably, this can be a little intimidating to work with. So let me show you a few quick tips to quickly peel, grate, chop ginger. So first I'll pull apart just, where these natural separations are in the ginger, pull that off, because what I'm going to use to peel this is just a regular old teaspoon. And what's nice about that is you can just remove the peel without really any waste of the ginger itself, the part underneath that you want to use for seasoning and flavoring your food. So you just take it in your hand like this, and I'm just using a little pressure with this finger to scrape it, and then I'm using this thumb to stabilize it, so I'm just going like this. So you're scraping along. What's really nice is, besides not wasting a bunch of ginger, you can really get in all those crevices. You can just get in there and scrape that out. There's not really any way to get your knife in there to do that. Certainly no way to safely do that. And I know some people will grate their ginger with the peel on, but the peel is really not a pleasant texture to have in your mouth. It's also more bitter, takes away from, that sweet, spicy flavor of the ginger. So best to get it off if you can. If you're using ginger in a dish where you're going to remove it, then there's no need to peel it. Then you could just slice big chunks and throw it in. So you can see that we made, there's a lot of peel, right? You made pretty quick work of that with the spoon. It would take much longer trying to do that with a knife, and you just hack it to bits. Let me show you a couple different things you can do with it. You could certainly take a knife and slice it and mince it up. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. But while I still have a big enough piece to grate, you can take the tool that we used in the zesting video showing how to zest lemons and limes. This is actually a really great tool for grating ginger as well. You can actually grate garlic instead of chopping it, because as long as you don't push super hard, even though this is sharp enough to grate the ginger, it doesn't cut you like, running your finger along a knife would. So when you don't press and hit really hard, you usually won't cut yourself with it. So just press down, grate your ginger. When a recipe will say like an inch of ginger or something, you can just kind of pay attention to how long this is when you start, and just grate until you've gone down that far on the knob of ginger. And you can tap this out. You can see you have this perfectly grated ginger here. It smells amazing. If you wanted to, you had a cold, you wanted to make some ginger lemon honey tea, this would be great to add to it. And all these little fibrous bits here, which you really don't want to get a bite of, those stay behind, or they get shredded up into such small pieces that they're not going to be clinging or getting stuck to your teeth. So that's a nice way to do grated ginger. And if you wanted to slice it up, you can just cut off that fibrous piece. So you just tuck your fingers under just like you do with many other vegetables, aromatics, and fruits that we chop, and make slices. That. If you want to have that minced up, of course I would probably opt for using the microplane and just grating it instead of mincing it, but if you don't have that, you want to mince it up, then you would just do it like you do the herbs. You just chop back and forth in a pie-shaped wedge, scrape this back into a pile, and just keep chopping up until it's minced as small as you want. When you mince ginger, you want it minced really small for almost all recipes. There's not too many where you want big pieces, unless, there are some where you might create matchsticks and then you want to fry them in a little oil and really perfume the oil with that. You might have matchsticks. You might have bigger pieces where you're boiling them in a sugar syrup. These are not, frying and boiling in sugar syrup aren't necessarily things that we're covering in the course, but certainly they're really great ways to add, a great hit of flavor. I could have covered them. There's just, endless number of things that we could cover. Cooking is really exciting, and I hope that learning to do some of these things that make cooking easier, more enjoyable, less scary, less mysterious, will help you to feel that excitement as well. And if you're trying to decide how small or not to mince your ginger, just think about how you're going to cook it. If you're going to be stir frying it, you might not want it too small, because when little tiny pieces hit the hot oil, they can burn. And if you do chop them small and think, oh gosh, I really did want to use this for a stir fry, you can always add them a little bit later in cooking instead of right to the oil at the beginning. It might not perfume any of the oil that you're using to the same degree that it would if you put it in right away, but it's still going to add a great ginger kick to your dish. Better to have it in there and not burnt than to have it burnt and ruin the whole dish. So we have our minced ginger, a little piece of peeled ginger that remains, our whole unpeeled ginger to start, and then our grated ginger.